Everyone here in Washington is angry, I mean furious at Rand Paul, especially the Republicans. Republicans are practically sputtering. They are so ticked off at the Kentucky senator for his single-handed stance against NSA bulk record surveillance program, knocking it out of action, at least temporarily. They'll probably come up with a legislative fix in the next couple of days. And the reason I think some of this is unfair, I mean, you can agree with Paul on this or not agree with Paul on this. You can be in favor of more aggressive NSA surveillance, or you can think it's a terrible invasion of Americans' privacy. But the common assumption, and I think many in the media share this, and certainly many of Rand Paul's opponents have not been shy about making this case, is that he's doing this only to help his presidential campaign. Now, it is true that if you are running for president, everything that you do, even if you fall off a stage, if you use certain hot rhetoric, is part of your run for the White House. So you can't completely divorce it from politics. But it's not like Rand Paul just discovered this issue. He has been talking for years, speaking out, particularly after Edward Snowden's revelations against the NSA spying, what he sees as an unconstitutional infringements on Americans' right to privacy. He has been fighting this battle, and of course he is going to try to stop the program. And it's the peculiar rules of the Senate, which drives everybody crazy depending on which side of the issue you're on at one time or another, is that a single lawmaker, if the other side can't get to 60 votes, can stop a vote on a nominee, can stop a program from being voted on, can stop just about anything. It's 100 guys and women, each of whom have a nuclear weapon at their disposal. Now, there is one way in which Rand Paul went too far, and he now recognizes that he went too far. In the heat of the moment, in fighting back against his critics, he said that some of these critics, unnamed, would like to see an attack on the U.S. so they can blame him. That's a pretty outrageous charge, because it's saying that people who disagree with him politically would like to see dead Americans just so they can score political points. And it was interesting watching the interview yesterday with Rand Paul on Fox's American Morning with Bill Hemmer, and he kept trying to kind of backpedal a little bit by saying, well, the hyperbole got the best of me, and maybe it was a mistake, but we all fall subject to hyperbole. It wasn't hyperbole, it was a mistake, but Paul didn't want to say it was a mistake. And this is a guy who's already ticked off the GOP by saying that Republicans created ISIS by going into Iraq. Now, while there is certainly a historical argument to be made that there was no al-Qaeda in Iraq before President Bush invaded in 2003. You can also say that Barack Obama enabled the growth of ISIS by pulling out all the troops and by not being vigilant. So that's an important debate as well. So Rand Paul has shown one thing. He is willing to take on his own party, to be the last man standing, to be the guy who prevents the vote in a way that is obviously controversial. It may end up being so controversial that it hurts his campaign, but for people who like his taking a stand as a leader, taking risks, and taking on members of his own party, not just running a carefully choreographed campaign, I think that may appeal to them. And the one thing I think we should give him is that he believes in this stuff. He really believes in this stuff. He may be wrong. His tactics may be over the top. But Rand Paul is fighting for what he believes in.